And before I get to the questions that I've already gotten, and now, of course, I'll take some from the comments too. I just want to take a few minutes to read some of the comments and give shout outs to people who have written to me either through DM or sent me emails, because it has just been so sweet to read these messages. And I just feel like I want to give you all shout outs. I won't put like your whole name or anything like that. I'll just use first name and last initial, or like, as much as I can get from Instagram handles or from emails. But just wanted to, give you all little flowers and thank you, because it really does mean a lot every time I open up my email account or look in my DMs and see these really sweet messages from y'all. So the first one is from Helen A on Instagram, and Helen said, I have really loved watching your posts recently. You've honestly changed my mentality on money, and I'm forever grateful for your commitment and dedication to helping others too. You've taught me so much. I never in my wildest dreams thought it would be possible for me to save $1,000. But now that's like nothing to me. I appreciate your YouTube videos, your Instagram reels. You've always allowed people to grow financially through learning from your content. And you've given me the right mindset on money as well. Helen, that is so sweet. And honestly, I've said this before, but I'll keep saying it again. Every time people go, you're the reason why I saved up, or you're the reason why I improved my credit, or you're the reason why I started investing. And like maybe the information that I shared inspired you to get started, but the truth is the reason is you. You are the one that took action. So at the end of the day, as much as you might feel like you owe it to somebody who might have put you on, to the resources, to the books, to the information, and all that is very important, but you have to give yourself credit, because there's a lot of people out there who will watch my content, who will read books, who will listen to podcasts, who will read blogs and newsletters and all kinds of whatever content that they consume, but they know they should do something, they know they should change, and they don't. So shout out to Helen A on Instagram for this message and for actually taking action to save up $1,000 and do all the things that are really hard to do to change your mentality when it comes to money. So props to you, Helen. All right, this one is from Tiffany. Tiffany said, I just wanted to send you a thank you email to let you know that I was a victim of really bad credit repair, and I felt so lost on where to go. I had to clean up my mess. I met this guy with one collection account paid in full. He was supposed to remove it, but then he ended up deleting everything. And I had an open car loan with Wells Fargo at the time. I also had a Capital One secured card with 7 months of good history. But I felt like when he started to add trade lines and it was attempting to get me to purchase a car and sign a deal, they came back and said my credit score was 580. But I decided not to move forward with him, started all over again. My credit score is now in the mid 600s, but I've watched a few of your videos and have steadily seen my credit score increase. I just wanted to say thank you so much, because there's so many people out here who are giving misinformation and trying to take advantage of people like me who didn't know any better regarding credit repair. I'm truly hurt behind all this, but I really appreciate your help. First of all, this message, Tiffany, thank you for sending this to me, because this one really hurt. Like, I feel like a lot of credit repair specialists are giving the credit repair industry such a bad rap because of the fact that there's so much scammy stuff going on out there. I don't know why they were trying to push you to open up a new car loan or to add a sign on to a car or something like that. I feel like sometimes when you start doing credit repair, it can feel counterintuitive. And that's why I always tell people, just try at least to improve your credit by yourself first. And if you feel like you're in a situation where you literally have tried everything and nothing worked, then you could go look for credit counseling. But if you haven't even tried anything yourself and you just go straight to credit repair, I feel like that is an act of desperation, trying to get someone to quickly work magic on your credit score. And that is what ends up leading you to, out of desperation, to work with people who are really scammy. So the fact that this happened to you is probably because you were in a situation where you were really desperate and motivated to really quickly change your credit score, especially since you said that you were, that you had met this guy who kind of messed this things up for you and you had to clean up the mess really quickly. That ends up meaning that you're desperate to do something really fast. So when it comes to credit repair, it's gonna take a while. Anybody who tells you that they're gonna clean up your credit in 2 weeks, in a month, in 2 months, they are lying. Because first of all, it takes 30 days for most of the reporting to even happen, for you to even see anything change in the first place. So for somebody to tell you they're going to change it in a couple of weeks, it's near to impossible, because credit bureaus have that reporting cycle, which generally takes at least 30 days for you to really see any changes that are reflected on the credit reports that are used to inform your credit score. So I personally understand why so many people feel like the credit repair industry is shady and like, why they'd rather stay away from it. There are some really quality people out there who do help with credit education and credit repair, but you have to be so extremely careful in who you work with. And it's kind of similar to insurance, right? Like there are plenty of insurance people who are doing really great work in helping people find the right type of coverage and protection for their situation and for their needs and for their family, etc. But then for every really good agent, I feel like there's 3 or 4 really terrible agents out there who are pushing insurance products and trying to pretend that they're investment products and just putting people into plans that are not best suited for what their actual needs are. These insurance agents sometimes just push you products that they're going to make profit off of by signing you up. And that's kind of like what it is with credit repair specialists. Sometimes they just want to sign up more clients and they just want to get more people to pay every month. And they make promises that most of the time they really can't keep. So I would always say if you're in a situation where your credit is really bad, start by just learning what are the 5 factors of credit. The 5 factors of credit make up all of your credit score, right? So there's payment history, there's credit utilization, age of credit, mix of credit, and new applications for new credit or new types of credit. If you don't understand what those 5 categories or 5 factors are, if you don't know what percentage of your score each of those categories counts as or puts towards your score, if you don't know what helps each category and what hurts each category, that start there. That is your homework, because a lot of the things that will boost up your score are contained in those 5 factors, right? Cleaning up your payment history, starting to make payments on time, automate your minimums on all of your credit accounts, utilization, making aggressive payments down on any outstanding debts, especially revolving credit like credit cards, especially high interest rate cards. There are things that you can do. If you get somebody to add you as an authorized user that can add age of credit to your credit reports, to your credit history, like these are things that you can do that, yes, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a couple months. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you're patient and you start doing these things, you'll be able to clean a lot of this up yourself, and you won't have to risk getting scammed or getting played by people who are really just, out here trying to take advantage of people and make a quick buck off of you. So, Tiffany, thank you for writing that to me. Thank you for watching my content. And I'm really sorry that happened to you where you were a victim of bad credit repair. If I were you, I would actually report these bad credit repair people, their business name, report them to BBB, to the Better Business Bureau, and make sure that you do everything you can. Put a Google review on their business, post about it, tell people, because at the end of the day, what you really want to try to do is use your story as inspiration, or at least as a little bit of a way to prevent other people from falling for that same scam, or for working with that same business and ending up in the same situation as you. So I'm really glad you spoke up about this and that you reached out to me, because I know it's hard. It's hard to admit, when you've been scammed, you kind of feel like ashamed, like you feel like you're guilty, but you're not. You're really not. You were a victim. So tell other people so you could prevent more victims from falling prey to this credit repair scam that's going on. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, this one is really sweet. Hello, my name is Peter. I found your videos about 7 months ago, and it has literally changed my life. I have just ended a 15-year relationship, which left my credit shot. I Googled and YouTubed for credit repair, and I stumbled across one of your old videos. After watching 2 or 3 more of your videos, I subscribed to your channel, and the information I have learned from your videos has been priceless. I started with a credit score of 498, and today my credit score is 623. Thank you so much for all the information that you put out. Subscribing to your channel has been the best investment I have ever made. Thank you again. I love this so much, because going from a 498 to a 623 in 7 months is amazing. Like, that is incredible. And you're so close to what I would consider to be like the goal for people who are doing credit repair, would be to get you to a 640. Because once you're at a 640, now you're at a place where your credit is looking solid, it's looking really strong. And that's usually where you're going to start to get some of the better deals. Of course, ideally you would be at like a 750 or up, because that will put you in excellent, right? With 800 plus, of course, being best. But even getting to a 640 is really nice because then you could qualify for some of those lower rates if you needed to do a consolidation loan or if you needed to do any type of access to credit that, for example, could help you to lower the interest that you're paying on existing debts that you have, or consolidate into one account just to make it easier for you to manage one payment every month instead of 16 or 17 different loan accounts. So all of that is a lot easier when your credit score is closer to 700 or even above 700, obviously would be ideal, but 623 is amazing. So shout out to you, Peter, for taking the steps that you need to take to increase your credit. I'm glad you found my channel. I'm happy for you that you ended a 15-year relationship that was not good for you, clearly, because it left your credit shot. So that's a good thing that you're moving forward and now you're coming out of that situation and being able to work on your credit. So highly proud of you. And I feel like, honestly, again, going back to that point that I made earlier, it's a lot of you giving yourself props, because it's really easy to watch videos and read content. It's really hard to actually take action and do the work yourself, to start aggressively paying down debt, to start actually contacting your creditors and talking to them. Like, these things take time and it's a little bit intimidating. So the fact that you're doing these things and you're taking those steps is huge. All right, let's see what else we got. I saved a couple more. Hi, I'm a new freshman going into college who really wanted to say thank you for all the helpful videos that you made on YouTube. I was so confused by a lot of the financial vocabulary and the whole new thing called credit cards, but your clear cut and well articulated videos actually helped me to understand. I will definitely be sharing to everyone that I know who needs to learn basic financial literacy. Thank you for your videos and keep up the awesome work. This was really sweet. And honestly, I feel like college, a freshman going into college, is like the perfect age to learn this, because you're really at an age where intellectually you can understand why this matters and what all the information is. When you're in high school, it's important to get it as exposure, but sometimes you're a little immature when you're 15, 16, 17. You don't really take it seriously as you should. And I feel like once you're 18, 19, 20, the maturity level is way higher, and now you're actually at a point in your life where you know how important it is, because you're friends with some people who maybe recently just graduated or about to graduate, and they're about to face the reality that it's really hard out here to get a job as a new grad, and it's really hard out here to manage your money without a lot of guidance or knowledge. So the fact that you're at that age of freshman in college and starting to really pay attention to this information now is going to be amazing for you, because it's going to prevent you from making a lot of the mistakes in college that I made with credit cards and with spending, because I felt like peer pressure to look a certain way or to wear certain brands or to dress a certain way. I really hope that that you have a much better relationship with money and a much stronger money mindset than I did when I was in college. And I feel like freshman year, honestly, is like the perfect time to start reflecting on these things, thinking about these ideas around money, around wealth. What does it mean to have money? What does it look like to have money or wealth? And really to create your own personal opinions about what you want your life to look like when it comes to money and when it comes to your financial, your definition of financial freedom. Because for me, financial freedom means one thing, but for everybody, it means something different. So at least starting to think now as a freshman of what that means is amazing. All right, I got one from Juandi on Instagram, Juandi Y, who said, "Thank you so much for all of your knowledge. Thanks to you, my credit score has increased so much. 2 to 3 years ago, my score was just a little under 600, and I cannot believe that this is it now. Working towards a better future." And I'm not gonna put their whole business out there, but they sent me a picture of their. Oop, can't really see it, but they sent me a picture of their credit, like a screenshot of their credit score, which says 760, and it was updated on July 7th. That is amazing. Honestly, a 760, that is incredible. You're literally about to be at 800. So congratulations to Wandi. That is amazing. All right. Now I got a couple questions which I wanted to answer, at least a few, give my opinion on a few. And then of course I'll look at the chat. If y'all have questions for me that I can answer, I'm down to answer a couple questions. I'm not going to be on for a very long time because I have a very early flight in the morning to go to Chicago for the National Association of Hispanic Journalism conference that's going on in Chicago. And then literally after my panel discussion, I'll have like an hour to mingle and be at the conference with the team that I'm traveling with, which is the CNBC Financial Wellness Advisory Council. And once I am done with that little bit of mixer and like mingling time, I pretty much have to go right back to the airport because I'm going to be spending the weekend in Puerto Rico for one of my good friends' bachelorette parties. So I feel like there's so much going on in the next few days and I need to get myself ready for all of that. But Obviously, I wanted to do a quick live and do a Q&A. I'm going to try my very best to go live again tomorrow. It's just going to be really tricky because I'm going to be traveling and I'm at a conference. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to find time where I have a solid internet connection and I'm able to step away from the programming, and between the event and going to the airport, it's going to be a lot. So I will do my very best to get even a short Q&A tomorrow. But for now, I have a couple questions that I already saved. So the first one is, I'm a college student and I really have been working super hard to try to save up $1,000, but it seems near to impossible. It feels like it's getting harder and harder for me to save. Every time things come up for me, I feel like I have to spend the money that I am saving. I would really like to create a plan to save up my first $1,000, and I would like to do that in the next 6 months, but it feels impossible. Any advice, words of wisdom or tips that you can share would be helpful. So I feel like, okay, if I was trying to save $1,000 in 6 months, honestly, especially nowadays with technology, what I might do is just go to like ChatGPT or Perplexity.ai or whatever, AI chat that you use, and just type in something like, create a list of 25 whole numbers between 15 and 55 that all add up to 1,000. Just type that. Literally type that prompt. And what you'll get is a random list of like a bunch of numbers anywhere between 15 and 55, and you'll get 25 numbers. Why 25? Because that's about how many weeks there are in 6 months, right? So what you could do is then put those numbers on a separate little piece of paper, crumble it up, or like little post-it notes, crumble them, whatever you have. Don't go spend money on index cards or post-it notes. If you don't already have this stuff, just get a loose leaf paper out of a notebook or whatever, a sheet of computer paper that you have in your printer or wherever, and just write the numbers on really small paper, crumble them up, and put them in like a little jewelry box, in a little cup, in wherever in your room, in a drawer somewhere, right? Every single week for the 25 weeks, you're going to pull out a little piece of paper, and whatever amount of money it says, that's what you have to save. And if that means that you need to work Uber Eats or DoorDash or Grubhub, you need to do some food delivery, you need to drive for Uber for a couple hours, you need to, whatever you need to do to earn it, if you don't already have it, it's going to be a reasonable amount of money for you to make in a day or two, because it's something between 15 and 55. You can make between $15 and $55 in a week pretty easily by picking up some little side gigs or side hustles, especially as a college student, right? So what I would say, if you start week one, let's say you pull up a little piece of paper and it says $25. Well, then you have to move $25 out of your checking account into your savings account, or put $25 into a piggy bank. Now, if you don't have $25 to spare, again, you're going to go and pick up some extra hours and make $25 that week. But it is your job to set aside $25 for savings that first week. The second week, you pull another piece of paper out. It's never going to be more than $55, and it's never going to be less than 15. So now you're going to start preparing yourself every single week to have an extra 15 to $55. And because you told ChatGPT or Perplexity, whatever chat you use, to make sure that all those numbers add up to 1,000, by the time you pick up the 25th little piece of paper and move that money to savings or put it in a piggy bank, that amount of money that you've now saved will total up to $1,000 over the 25 weeks. So for me, I feel like it's doable because the number is small enough, right? It's not like you're moving $1 or $5, which can sometimes feel silly, or could sometimes feel like you're not really being productive at all. It feels kind of like stupid, like, oh, I just put $1 in my savings account today. That doesn't really feel legit, right? 15 to $55. That's a range that is realistic. That's not too high. That's manageable for a weekly amount of savings. And after 24, 25 weeks, you'll hit that $1,000. I like this because I feel like 6 months is realistic. So shout out to you for making a realistic goal. I know a lot of times people say, oh, I want to save $1,000 in 14 days. And it's like, all right, you know what? If you don't have it now, how you going to have it in 14 days? It's not to say it's impossible, but you're setting a goal that is really difficult to achieve. So you're very likely to set yourself up for failure, or to beat yourself up about it if you're off track. So it's better to set yourself up for success by choosing something that is achievable, that's realistic, and that, where the numbers and the math is mathing, where the numbers make sense. So you can tweak this a little bit, right? You can put the numbers to be a little different. You can put more weeks or less weeks. You can add up to more or less than $1,000, whatever your specific goal is. But I really like that prompt because it gives you the flexibility of like not knowing, each week. what number you're going to pull. So it kind of makes it a little bit of like a mystery thing. It makes it fun because it's a little bit of like a challenge, like a savings challenge. And you could also even include other people. You could tell some of your homegirls or some of your friends, like, hey, well, let's do this challenge together. And then every time you pull a new number out, you take a picture of it and put in the chat. Everybody, we got to save 25 this week. Who's with me. So when you do stuff like when you do something really hard, like saving up a big amount of money like that, doing it in community, doing it with other people, you're much more likely to actually hit the savings goal. You're much more likely to actually succeed because you don't feel like you're doing it by yourself, and then you get upset, you get resentful, you feel like, oh, you're not getting anywhere, or you resent the fact that you're not able to spend the way you want. But when other people are doing hard things with you, it feels like you're doing something meaningful together, and it doesn't feel like it's so crummy for you by yourself to experience this because you have other people that understand what you're going through. So I would recommend making it either a family challenge or a friend savings challenge, roommate savings challenge. But yeah, play back that prompt, put that into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever, Claude or whatever chatbot you're using, and copy those numbers down on a couple pieces of paper, and boom, you have your challenge set up. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't even cost you a dime to set this up. So that would be my best tips, my advice for this prompt. And shout out to you for setting a goal like that. Saving up $1,000 in 6 months is tricky. It's really hard, especially when you're in college and you're juggling a bunch of things and you don't have a lot of extra income. But I really do think it is doable to come up with anywhere between $15 and $55 a week for 24, 25 weeks. I do think it's doable, especially if you have a side hustle where you can pick the hours, right? Like you could decide to do a little bit more delivery if you're doing DoorDash or something like that. You can choose to work a little bit more until you make your $55 that week, and then boom, you can pause and go back to studying or to hanging out or to whatever you're doing. So I would recommend that. And I think 6 months, again, I think it is realistic. I don't think you're doing too much. Okay, let me take a look at these comments. I had a couple more questions, but I will see if there's anything in the comments that y'all want me to talk about. Stephen Smith sends me a little heart. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate you. Daniel Hannon says, hi. Hey, Daniel, what's up? Daniel says, you've taught me so much about credit cards. I applied for a Wells Fargo autograph card, and I'll use it responsibly as I do my other credit cards. Amazing. Honestly, for me, the big thing is that when I applied for credit cards, I did not know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. In my mind, I was thinking that a credit card was kind of like free money, like I could borrow it and then pay it back little by little. I did not understand, first of all, that everything was being reported to my credit report and being documented for years and years to come. And I definitely did not understand that there was a double-digit interest rate that would be charged on any balance that I did not pay in full by the due date. So if you already have an understanding of those two things, that every single payment you make, if it's not on time, it's going to hurt you, so you have to pay on time every single month, that automatically is going to help you create positive payment history, which is the biggest category of your credit score. And then the second thing is not spending so much on your card. I don't know, Daniel, you didn't say how much you were approved for on this new credit card, but I would recommend that you divide by 10 and then spend. So if the credit card has a $600 credit limit on it, divide that by 10. You should not spend more than $60 in any one statement cycle at a time. Because if you do spend more than 60, you're now above 10%, and you're now going to basically start taking away points from your utilization category of your credit. So I would recommend keeping your spending very low on the card. Now, let's say, for example, you got to go and buy textbooks and they cost $200. Go ahead and put the textbooks on your credit card. That's fine. But make sure you make an immediate payment, like literally as soon as possible. Within that week or the next week, pay it down and only leave $60 as a balance, so that when your due date comes, you can pay the $60 in full on that due date and be done with that statement cycle balance, right? The good thing about that is your usage of that card will be low. If you make aggressive payments and keep your balance down towards 10%, your usage is always going to be low, which is utilization. And that is where a lot of people lose points, because they don't realize that they're overspending too close to their limit. They think that's a good thing, and it's actually taking away a bunch of points. So keep in mind that your credit utilization really, really matters. All right, let's see. Just Ava said, "What's this for?" This is a general Q&A, Ava. If you have any specific questions that you want to ask, you know, ask away. It's very open-ended. I have a couple questions that I got about savings and about credit so far, but you can ask questions about general finances today. All right, I had somebody on Instagram who asked about doing work study. Oh, actually, this is Lewis who said, I used to do work study at my school. There were pros and cons to that. I did work study also when I was in college, and I agree. There's pros and cons to it. I feel like at the end of the day, I like to be in control of my hours, and I like to work jobs where I can sign up for certain shifts and pick up shifts so I can make extra money when I want, but then also know that like I only have to work a certain amount. So when I was in college, I worked at a pizzeria on campus. I swiped cards at the cafeterias, like throughout the different cafeterias on campus. I also did a lot of planning for event. I did event planning. I had two different event planning jobs. One of them was for Caribbean Heritage Week, and the other one was planning events for a program that was like about bringing people, alumni, back to talk about what they're doing in their career fields now and how they're using their college degree to do that work. And honestly, that was actually really cool because not only did I get paid to host those events and meet alumni and stuff, but I also got to attend all those events and learn from people. Like there was this one cool guy who came to talk about how he studied biology in undergrad, and then he ended up working at Animal Planet on the production team. So because he studied biology, like working at Animal Planet, he had an education that was really unique, that made him uniquely qualified to work at Animal Planet. But then the cool thing about that is my junior year, I ended up reaching out to him. We connected on LinkedIn, and I got an internship at Animal Planet because of him. So a lot of times, those events that I was planning helped connect me to alumni who then were in my network. Now I could stay connected with them, and I could eventually lead me to other opportunities. So yes, it was helping me make money, but that's only one of the benefits that I got from doing a lot of event planning at my campus. So I would say think outside the box. Don't just think about like jobs where you have to clock in and clock out. Like, yes, I did jobs like that. I worked at the pizzeria, I took out the trash, I opened and closed, all those types of jobs. I did that too. But I also really started to think about jobs that had multiple different types of benefits for me and not just a paycheck. So of course, you need the money, but there's a lot of other things that you can benefit from, not just getting paid. Getting paid is great, but you also, you're in college, you want to network, you want to build your relationships with people that can help you, of course, like when it comes to when you graduate and you want to look for opportunities, but also just in general, internships, work opportunities, networking opportunities, potential jobs in the future. There's so many other things that you could get from networking with people, and not just that paycheck every 2 weeks. Granted, the paycheck is great and it helps, but think bigger beyond that as well. All right, yeah, I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet, under 30 minutes today. So this one is actually funny. I got a message, two messages from the same person, and the Instagram is Nosila. So I'm not sure what the name of this person is, but it said, I'm a newer Instagram follower and watching your videos for a while. I really appreciate how down to earth your explanations are. I've learned a lot about improving my savings and retirement allocations, and I'm staying optimistic through the grind. But I did notice that you never show your personal life anymore, and I really miss it. Sorry if you don't feel comfortable, but it's just that your meal prepping and your workouts were always so inspirational to me when I first followed you, as well as your money tips. And I'm really missing that content from you. So I'm just gonna read what I wrote to her, because the reality is this was such a sweet message. I said, that is so sweet. I'm not uncomfortable. It's just that I want to try to not be on social media all the time. It can be super consuming. And honestly, I just feel like that's the real, like that's the answer. I feel like so many people who like make lifestyle content, their meal prepping and their exercise regimen and what they shop for and what they do all day and on weekends and everything, like they make social media their full-time thing, and then they can never be off social media. And I even noticed that with myself sometimes when I'm actively posting a lot and making a lot of content. I'm curious, like, how's the content doing? What posts do you guys like? What are you engaging with? What's getting more likes? And so I'm always on social media a little bit more when I'm posting and I'm active. And I'm trying to find the right balance between helping people, showing up online, being on social media, but not like obsessing over it where I'm constantly scrolling on social media, because I have a whole life offline that I want to live. And I don't want to be that kind of person who wakes up every day and runs to the phone to go check what how their social media is doing. I don't want to become that person. So I feel like when I start sharing a little bit more of the personal stuff, like, personal trips and my relationship and my skincare routine and what, how I'm decorating my apartment or all those things, I like sharing it with y'all. I do. But I just feel like then I'm always on social media. I'm always on Instagram. I'm always online. So I don't know, I'm trying to find the right balance, and doing more content that's specifically focused on financial education and financial literacy is what my audience expects from me. It's what I do for work. It kind of, helps me stay focused on the content and not make it something that's like a 24/7 thing where I'm always showing up on social media. So, if y'all miss my social or my personal things that I share, I'll try to do a little bit more here and there, but I'm not going to make any promises because I'm really not trying to be addicted to social media like a lot of people that I know, not to call nobody out. But Carlos Sky the Freedom said, glad to see you're back. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate you. I've been doing live every single day since early June, and it has been really fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's been really fun. And it's cool getting to know a lot of y'all who have been following me for a while. And because I was on a little bit of a break, I was not interacting with a lot of people so much on social media as much. And so I feel like it's really nice to just get back on and just like hit people up and hear what questions y'all have and talk to y'all. Maria said, what are your thoughts on anti budgets and who do you think this type of budgeting method is best suited for? I like anti budgets. I wrote a whole part about that in my book, Mind Your Money. The chapter on budgeting I talked about how I did like the anti budget and I started using it myself, but only after I spent a few, honestly, like 2 years budgeting with the zero base budgeting first. The reason why I like zero based budgeting is because it forced me to be extremely detail oriented with my spending. I had to know where every dollar was going. So I was really mindful. I was looking, and it forces you to really be reflective and pay attention to the details of your spending because things will sneak up. You'll start spending here or there, and you have these little gaps and leaks in your budget that you don't really pay attention to. And then you just sweep it under the rug and tell yourself it's not that big of a deal, but it can be a big deal if you're not making a lot of income. So specifically for lower income people who you really want to kind of know exactly where the money's coming and going until you start earning a little bit more income, then you could be a little bit more flexible. Maybe you're not like having such a tight budget as much. That's what worked for me. So I started with the zero based budget. I did it myself in a spreadsheet. I updated it every single week, and then or every 2 weeks because I got paid on the 1st and the 15th. So I would update it every 2 weeks, and then I had a monthly budget, like a monthly plan, and I would update it every 2 weeks to see if I was on track. And that included how much I was saving. So I wanted to try to hit my 6 months emergency savings, paying off my debt, which was at that time I was paying off $20,000 of credit card debt, and then making sure that I had like anywhere between 40 and $50 to give my parents and my family whenever they needed like help with bills and things. My parents, I'm first generation, so I have always been in that habit of like helping my parents. But there was a point where I was giving $100 or $200, and I really couldn't do that. So I had to tell them like, okay, mommy, if you need money, I'm going to give you this much until I'm debt free. So putting that in my budget was really helpful. And then, of course, all the bills and everything that I needed to pay every month. It was nice that I knew exactly what my spending was because I had an unlimited Metro card at the time. I was living in New York City. My grocery budget was generally the same amount. I would walk to the supermarket, buy my groceries, meal prep every single day. And so I was, because I was so strict, it was really nice because the numbers, I knew exactly what to expect. Then once I got really good at that, and once I had discipline from budgeting super tightly for 2 years, then I discovered the anti budget because I read Paula Pant's blog, which is called affordanything.com. If you don't know Paula Pant, she's amazing. She has a podcast called Afford Anything. She also has a blog, Afford Anything. And I read her post about the anti budget, which was how she prefers to budget. So she sets up her income, total number of income of how much she makes. Immediately, right off the top, she takes off what she wants to invest, what she wants to save, and then everything that's left is for bills and funds. So all the bills money moves to a bills account. Whatever's left, she could spend guilt free with no questions asked and no shame. And so once I kind of read that blog post and I realized, oh, that's really smart, but only because I was making a little bit more income. I had a little bit more flexibility in how I could spend my money. And I was already a disciplined person with money because I had spent 2 years zero based budgeting. So I personally don't think if you are much lower income right now, you're starting out your career or you're in a low income salary job right now and you're working on boosting your income, but you're not quite there yet, and you're newer to money management. Like this is a new thing that you're starting to actually control your money rather than you just spend it and you don't pay attention to how much is coming in and out. So if you're newer and you're lower income, I would not recommend the anti-budget. I would say it's better for you to actually go through line by line with your spending and be really mindful and detail oriented for at least 3 months to 6 months so you can get a handle of your money. Then you can graduate up to something like the anti-budget. But I would start with something more disciplined, like either cash envelope system or zero-based budgeting. Those are going to be a lot better. And there's so many different systems out there. There's YNAB. You need a budget, which is perfect for zero-based budgeting. But I never spent money doing things like that. I just actually created my own Google spreadsheet, and I give it away for free in my guide, the free guide that pairs with my book. So if you want a spreadsheet template for Google that way you can just make a copy of it and you don't have to create one from scratch, just go to mindyourmoneybook.com and download the free guide that pairs with my book. Scroll through and go to the budgeting spreadsheet and just download that spreadsheet. It's a master spreadsheet with a budget template that pretty much allows you to type in everything that you're spending money on, your income, and then it recommends the budget, like how much you should save, how much you should spend on everything based on your income. So that got me through the first 2 years of very detail oriented budgeting. And then I graduated up to anti-budget. But yes, I like the anti-budget. I support it. I love it. Paula Pant wrote a whole blog post about it that sold me on the idea when I first learned about it in like 2017 or 2018. But from 2015, 2016 through 2017, 2018, I was just hardcore zero-based budgeting with my spreadsheet. So I do recommend doing that first, getting that disciplined approach in. Once you're really good and you have a strong mindset and you're disciplined and motivated to save and not just waste money, then I think you could kind of do something a little bit more lenient, like the anti-budget. All right, let's see. Anybody on Instagram got questions for me? No, Instagram is a little quiet today. All right, well, I'm gonna pop off of here and I will do my very best to go live again tomorrow, which is July 10th. But again, like I said before on this live, I'm gonna be in Chicago for the National Association of Hispanic Journalists Conference. I'm gonna be speaking on a panel with Sharon Epperson from CNBC. We're gonna be talking about financial literacy content, personal finance knowledge that journalists need to know. This has like a little bit of a special emphasis on the Latino community. So I'm really excited for that. But if I can find some time with a good internet connection, I'm going to pop on live real quick and do a short bit tomorrow from the conference. And if I can't make that work, then I'll just be live again the next day. I'm going to be traveling this weekend, but I will do my very best to stay consistent. And if y'all have questions that you want me to answer in a future video or comments that you want to share with me, drop them on my YouTube videos. You can email them to me at missbehelpful@gmail.com, or you can slide in my DMs on Instagram. I'm pretty active. I check it often. So if you DM me with a question or comment, I will see it. And all of my handles on all these platforms is at missbehelpful. So should be pretty easy to find me. And thank you for joining the live, y'all. I'll see you.